Throughout the past several years, most of the legal challenges to execution in Ohio have centered around the use of the second and third drug. A lot of the litigation claims that if the first drug doesn't work, then the second and third drug would be extremely painful. So that issue is now resolved by the use of a one-drug protocol. The other issue that went into deciding to include intramuscular injection into the protocol is the circumstances that occur with Rommel Broom. While they're very rare and exceptional circumstances, we wanted to equip our staff with the means necessary to carry out their responsibilities under the law. And intramuscular injection does that. So it was really, there was really two things that we addressed in changing the execution protocol. Addressing the claim that the use of the second and third drug could be cruel and unusual punishment if the first drug wasn't administered properly, and then the inclusion of a backup system that equips our staff with carrying out the law in the event of IV problems.
Should this be litigated, since critics call this protocol also cruel and unusual punishment?
Well, I'm sure that there will be litigation surrounding any execution procedures that we set forth. Our experts that we talked to believe that this is no more painful than any other injection of establishing an IV site. The intramuscular injection is similar to, they've explained it to us, as similar to a flu shot injection. The two drugs used in the intramuscular injection are a sedative and a painkiller. So certainly they have the right to litigate, and I'm sure they'll choose to do so. But we think this is an appropriate execution protocol moving forward.
Julie, one of the questions that we get as reporters when we go out in the public is, why doesn't Ohio just go ahead and televise executions so that the people of Ohio who have something invested in it in an emotional way oftentimes can see what's going on versus having to rely on reporters to tell them?
That's not something that we would entertain in Ohio. The execution process is a very serious responsibility that we're charged with undertaking. It's one that should be done humanely and with dignity, and in Ohio we would televise that event.
Is the first drug, and what is it, an anesthetic? What is the first drug?
It's an anesthetic. It's used in surgeries across the country. It's a drug that's used for anesthesia, and we're using it in a very large dose.
Why were there three originally, not just the one if the one works?
Well, years ago, when the person invented the three-drug protocol or came up with the three-drug protocol, it's the one that's been used across the country. I can't answer for you why we didn't use a one-drug protocol at that time, but we believe that this one will work. We believe it'll work effectively, efficiently, and without the issues surrounding the use of the second and third drug.
Can I go back to my question about, you said you wanted it to be presented humanely and responsibly and all that. Do you, by nature of the way you answered that question, think that if the public saw this, that they wouldn't think it was administered humanely?
No, I don't think that. That's not what I was saying. I just believe televised executions is not something that we would entertain in the Department of Rehabilitation and Corrections. The dignity and the humanity, and it surrounds not just the offender, but the victims' families that are involved. It's a very difficult time, and televising executions is not something we would consider in this state for that reason. We have pool reporters whose responsibility it is to carry the message to the public about what occurred during the execution. Well, physicians being involved in executions is a difficult issue. Certainly there's a reluctance for physicians to get involved. In some states they're guaranteed anonymity. That's not true in this state. So to have a physician step forward and be willing to be involved in the process it is a very difficult issue. But we believe that our execution team members are trained and professional and capable of handling these responsibilities. They are trained in administering IVs and in establishing IV sites, and are very well equipped and very well able to handle those responsibilities.